Good evening and welcome to the Coach's Box. It's 7 o'clock on Tuesday. Appreciate everybody being on the Facebook waves here. Ray Halbrook with Livestream STL. Hope you all are doing well today. We've got we're all in house here at La Pachanga in Herculaneum. So thanks again for watching. And we've got the whole clan with us today. And we're going to open up the lines here. And I'm going to start with Mr. Matt Schutte. Matt, how you doing, man?
Raymond, how are you?
Good.
Good. Would you like me to introduce the rest of the boys?
Well, go right ahead.
Hi, boys. We're off to another great start.
Hi, Matt.
Boy, this reassignment's looking more and more likely by the minute. We're going to start with the man in we'll start with the man in the middle with his district championship T-shirt on, Mr. Chris Miller, Coach Chris Miller.
Oh, I forgot I had this on.
Flanked by a pair of Herculaneum legends, first down at the end, Riley Blair, girls coach at Herculaneum High School, and Jason Jarvis, boys coach.
Maybe someday I'll get to wear a district championship shirt. I don't know.
Thank you.
Hey, class 4 district champs.
I'll probably have to buy a girl's shirt is what'll happen. I don't know.
We are coming to you live from La Pachanga in scenic Herculaneum, Missouri. I believe a couple of our colleagues here had some dinner this evening. Is that an accurate assessment, gentlemen? Have we already dined? Let's see.
Those two.
Oh, yeah.
Those two? Okay.
Oh, yeah. What's that stuff that we always get here? It's great.
Orals Compolo.
Yeah. I can't even pronounce it, but it's great.
The Brothers Pizza's better, but that's all right.
Yeah.
You know.
Come in, grab a seat at the bar, eat, and watch the nitrittery flow all throughout the
look
evening.
at
Here
that.
comes a lot of St. Pius's finest.
Wow.
I don't know about
coming in,
finest, but
but-
at least they're here.
Chase Martin in dire need of a haircut and as the COVID pandemic takes its toll on his hair.
Yeah,
right there.
That's pretty rough. I know some people we could, refer him to.
So, well, and my hair suffers as well. I
Sure.
took Chris Miller's advice and hid the 5 head with the hat. Violated my #1 hat rule, however. This one's not broken in yet. It's usually not for public consumption. As you can see, the bill's a little off. But
Hey, we're still waiting on you to put a hat on.
I know. I was going to say, Blair didn't take the advice. He's still shining over there.
desperate times called for desperate measures, and in this case, busted out the hat of the alma mater, the Illinois State hat. So tonight we are without guests, but we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be focusing on summer basketball. Normally at this time of year, gentlemen, I believe each of you would be prepping for some sort of summer ball with your teams. It is the 1st of June, so Coach Jarvis, what would you guys be doing right about now? Would the Hillsborough League have started yet? What would your team be up to?
Well, in previous years, we've been down at Kingston where we've done a league night on Monday nights, and then we do like 2 weeks at Hillsborough. Well, I was going to notch it up this year because I got a lot of kids coming back, and we were going to do both leagues on Monday and Wednesday nights, and also do a JV league with Justin Ford down at St. Paul. So I was going to have 3 leagues going, and was going to get a lot of basketball in, and then COVID had to put a little stop to that, and so now we're playing a waiting game, and I'm hoping, July 1st rolls around, and we got some texts going today about playing out in the Hillsborough League in July, so we're hoping if everyone can get it figured out, our governor and everything, and we can get this figured out, we'll be hopefully participating in some basketball coming up. I actually just got done with a football meeting right before this, so we're just trying to prepare for what could or could not happen.
So, Chris Miller, what would you guys be doing? Hillsborough League as well, or what?
Yeah, on Wednesday nights, we try to go out to Hillsborough. I know last year we sent our JV down to St. Paul Lutheran to play with Coach Ford, and they put on I thought we put on a great league for everybody, and just at least trying to have some more things where you can get the kids in and actually be working on having some stuff in. I know last year being a new guy, it really helped getting to know the kids and having an opportunity to at least have some basic form of what we're going to do during the season and establish that. And right now, July is almost like a free-for-all and between us and other sports, and we're just going to try to make the best of it and make it work, and I'm sure that's the same thing that everybody's kind of dealing with right now.
So, Coach Blair, what about you with the Herculaneum Lady Black Cats? What were they going to be up to right now?
We definitely do it at an event on Monday nights. We do the Hillsborough Ladies League out there, and, we do that every year. And, 5 weeks, play 2 or 3, 4 games. Each level of mine from the junior high all the way up, plays in that. So, we have a pretty full evening of that. And then we'd also do the next level basketball up at Lutheran South and Webster Groves, where we go up there 3 weekends out of the month in June and play in a kind of a shootout out there where all of our programs play in that as well, and also our intermediate kids, our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders play in that as well. So, I had a full plan-filled summertime, and then we also do a team camp over in Illinois every year, and then we usually sometimes every other year we'll go to licking camp, in Rolla or Branson, depending on where it's at and what fits our schedule. But, so we had a full schedule of contact days, of 20 contact days ready to go, and, the COVID-19 hit and changed a lot of things. So, but, I know that our kids are doing some things on their own, and, we've done some Zoom meetings and some stuff like that, and we're getting ready to do some more things hopefully this month, and just trying to do some more co-oping with kids and just try to work on some things as a group.
So Coach Miller alluded to the fact that the summer last year gave him the opportunity to get to know his kids a little bit, coming in as a first-year coach. Coach Jarvis, coming back now and having several years of experience with your team, is that summer camp, that summertime play, is that an opportunity for you to put in your system for these youngsters, or is it more of a chance for you to see what you've got coming up? Is it a combination of both? What are you looking at to get out of that?
Well, I've actually never even had a basketball camp at the high school level since I've been at Herky. I use basically an open gym method, and I try to touch on everything we did the season before. I don't really try to throw a bunch of new stuff at them unless there's a new offense we might want to run, or defensively, I try to run man in the summer, something we don't run a lot of during the season, and I try to work on that during the summer, and I'm thinking I might have a group that can run some man coming up, so I'm hoping, if we get some summertime in, we can do that. But a lot of drills. A lot of these kids want to get out and play pickup ball all the time, and I think they could do better by an hour of just doing skills and drills than they can an hour of playing in a pickup game. Because in a pickup game, you may only get 6 shots in an hour and a half, whereas if you're doing shooting drills and stuff, you could get, 500 shots up.
Yep.
So a little more beneficial, I think, doing those skills and drills.
So, Coach Blair, you alluded to the fact you've got a system that's starting basically in 3rd grade on up. Are you having them put in elements of what you want them to do at the high school level as early as 3rd and 4th grade? Or
not necessarily. I think the 3rd and 4th grade that we really focus on just skills and drills. I mean, we fundamental at that age. 5th and 6th grade we tried doing a little bit of incorporating what we do at the high school level, but not necessarily as in-depth. Maybe some basic principles of what we do. And I think that's important for those kids to come up and the one thing that I think is the most important for in the summertime is to let the kids have a little bit of fun, because that this is their time to just kind of get away and be a kid. And so we do a lot of fun stuff when it comes to summer basketball. When we do our trips, we do some get-togethers. Maybe sometimes we'll do a picnic, a team picnic, or we'll get all the family together and go do something fun. Maybe the team together and go to Six Flags one day or whatever, just to try to comrade, to get the kids to excited about having an enjoyable time, not just saying we're going to focus on basketball all the time. And I think it helps, the kids to just get out there and do something fun with their teammates, build that rapport with each other. And I think that's important. But as a younger level group, I mean, we work with those younger 3rd and 4th grade kids, year round. I've got some great people that have volunteered their time to basically run that program for us. And, they're just, putting a lot of work and effort into just teaching fundamentals. And I think that's the key thing for, our program in the past 5 years, I think has grown just simply for the fact that we're teaching fundamentals at a young age, but we're keeping kids excited about it, and we're putting them in position to have a little fun and do some games and such that, I know that the groups that are freshmen and sophomores right now, when we first started this, they were playing in that next level, and we were just going up there and getting our brains beat in every night. And it was very tough for those kids. But I think they saw and I kept preaching to them, hey, this is not what it's like. If you can compete with these teams, you're going to be able to compete in the JCAA or in your district play. And we kind of talked about playing that kind of concept, and I think our kids bought into it, and I think we're hopefully going to see some rewards out of that down the road.
And I can vouch for Coach Blair and his staff on how much work they do with those younger kids. My daughter, she wasn't even going to Herky, but played on several Herky teams at the time, and now she's going to be at Herky, and I think that played a big part in her wanting to come to Herky, is that she played with those kids. And I didn't mention the lower levels for me, but I got a great junior high coach in Shawn Goodwin, and he's been doing this for years, and he's probably, him and Ray probably went to school together, so he's been doing this for years, and they've done a real good job of getting kids involved, and I've been lucky to have a good group of parents. My kids that are going to be sophomores and the freshman group coming in, all those kids have been playing basketball together since about third grade, because Dylan has played with that same group. I got a bunch of kids that have played a long time together, and I think that's what the key is. If they can play that long together and get them up to the high school playing that long, that helps out so much.
I think the other thing too, especially and Riley alluded to a little bit, was you get a chance to get away and be with the team, and like when we do any of our camp trips, or we went down to Dexter last year, you get a chance to be with your group, and you do some fun stuff. It's not just you're going to play a lot of basketball, you're going to be coaching these kids up, but we would try to go and do some kind of team activity. We went bowling, or in the past I've taken kids, especially when we go to Tri-Lakes in Branson, try to do some fun stuff down there, and just let kids be kids. I mean, at the same time, you're trying to go down there and work on some things and at least get some games and some reps and see what kids can do. But at the end of the day, it is summer. You do want them to enjoy it because you want them to keep coming out. You want them to keep playing. It's not just about all the work you have to do, but at the same time, kids can be kids and have some fun.
Well, two things I want to mention. One, my daughter played with yours last year in that Hillsboro League, and those guys do a really nice job of running that league down there for both boys and girls. We saw it firsthand with the girls from a parent perspective. You saw it, of course, as a coach from a boys' perspective, but I thought they did a fantastic job of running that, and that was one of those, honestly, hoping to get my daughter back into basketball, and the Hillsboro League, I think, would have been a great conduit for that. For her to do that. And these guys, Chris Miller, they're talking a lot about the youngsters coming up and building a pipeline and everything. One of the ways the private schools like a St. Pius are at a disadvantage and discriminated against, we don't have the opportunity to do those sorts of things. So we get stuck.
I can't talk about any of that. I can only talk about the kids.
Wait, you know what? There's
you
a whole
do have a feeder school called Our Ladies where they play CYC and they play together.
Well, I can't talk about any eighth graders that are coming. You
don't talk to any eighth graders. Okay.
On my daughter's life, I don't talk to eighth graders.
You don't. But you got your people who do. But anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So, hey, the speedometer's off me tonight. We're gonna have a good chat. So one of the ways, Chris, you have to kind of counter that is you're getting kids coming up that do have experience that you don't really have access to outside of 1 week of camp a year. And that might be through the CYC system. That could be through other summer methods such as AAU ball. And I think each of you has had players that have come up through there. And I know we've discussed at length off the air. There's some advantages. There's some that maybe could be construed as not so much as advantages. So I want to launch into that a little bit. That's another area, though, that right now there is no AAU ball. To my knowledge, I don't think teams are even able to practice yet. We're hoping maybe they can in mid-June, but it might be July, and who knows what'll happen.
Well, I know my son's starting next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so they gave the clear.
Actually, this week.
I had one of my players that is playing for a St. Louis team, but they're practicing out in Columbia. So they're driving all the way to Columbia just to have practice once a week.
Because of the county rules or recommendations.
Or the cities or county, yes.
Well, and my son's playing in Farmington. So it's a little different. I mean, and I know that there's been some skills going on at like parks and other things that have been going on for basketball.
Well, I know that, down south, I don't want to name any schools in front of anybody out, but there are where the recommendations are less restrictive. And there's not as many people, in rural areas. there's some schools that are doing summer activities and having their kids play, and
Nice.
all the power to them, because I mean, in the end of the day, as long as people feel that their kids are safe, if that's what they want to do, then we need sports. I don't know what to tell you.
I agree, and I seen it all over my Facebook today. There's some teams down south. I'm actually going to be in that part of the world this weekend, but and they're having full scrimmages, full everything. Like I know a guy that's coaching at Macon, Missouri, and they were having full football practice, like camp.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some schools are going after it, and now they don't have, like he said, they don't have as many regulations, and and they don't have as many cases as like we do. So,
I think the big thing about that is and I know this has been a big, huge topic around the state is the even playing field. Now they took away the contact days for this summer, I think that's changing a lot of people's reaction towards that, because now a lot of these schools are having a not as even playing field across the board, where it used to be 20 contact days, that's all you could get. Utilize that to the best of your ability, or whatever program you are a part of. And I think you're hearing a lot of negativity, and I say it from that standpoint, not necessarily from coaches, but from parents. You're hearing a lot of parents confronting schools and saying, hey, I know a lot of people throughout the state, and we're having issues with, I know that some coaches or some paying people that are doing some stuff already, and my students can't because, they live in this county. And how is that fair to my kid? I put my kid in that position. So I think that, when it comes down to that, I think that's going to be the big thing. You talk about the team from Macon out there in the football doing those scrimmaging camp and stuff. I mean, they're a step above the rest but it comes down to it. But I mean, we don't know what the future holds for Misha. They could cancel everything in the fall, everything in the winter, everything in the spring, and just say we're going to take 365 off and move on. So none of us really know that. So
let's hope not.
That's definitely no suck. But that's kind of where we're at, and it just puts so many kids, up on that understanding that, hey, I know I got a relative that lives in Kansas City and they're doing it, or whatever, and just a lot of kids are asking why can't we do this? Why can't we be out there? You got a lot of kids out there that are itching just to do stuff. I mean, they've been sitting at home since March 17th and haven't been able to do anything together, and they're going, why can't we get out there? I mean, my friends are, across the county.
My daughter wanted to go to a public swimming pool today. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're having to deal with, But I think that's coming, more importantly, I think that hopefully that some of these regulations will be opened up, and we'll be able to get more involved with our kids, hopefully sooner than later.
Well, and it's the student safety is the biggest thing of what everyone is looking out for, and I applaud the school districts are trying to do what's best,
right?
And it's a hard situation for everyone that we're dealing with, and
it's the unknown.
Yeah.
It's the unknown.
Well, and for like a St. Pius, so I'm fortunate enough to be serving on a committee with the Archdiocese, where we're examining what are the different scenarios for us to open up again in August. And that not just us as at St. Pius X, but all the Archdiocesan schools, nine of the high schools, and then countless grade schools. And one of the things is that more so than our public school counterparts is the average age of the instructors. Because there's several instances where faculty will retire from a public school teaching position, and then they'll come in either on a part-time or full-time basis and teach at our school, because our salaries don't match up with what you guys can make at the public schools and whatnot. But they do come in afterwards. Chris is finding out about that firsthand these days. So, we have teachers. Teachers have raised viable concerns. We have teachers that have been at Pius for 40+ years. And that puts them in the mid to upper 60s as far as their age. They're right there in that higher risk category. And so the kids might be safe, but if the kid's a non-active carrier, they can bring it into somebody that can cause an issue. So then we have to look at that, and there's just so many unknowns that we got to look at and decide what the risks are worth and things like that.
Well, I know that when we were looking at just say Jefferson County, and it kind of goes with the same thing when, you have schools that are able to do things around the state and then schools that aren't. And one of the things you got that if you look at from the standpoint of the school district, if you're putting kids at risk, it's all fun, it's all fine, everything's good until one kid gets sick or one kid has
kid's parent gets sick,
and then something happens, God forbid. And then what ends up happening then is, if you're looking at it from a public school standpoint or a school standpoint that's dealing with this, it's a we got to settle with this with this family, and it's going to cost some money.
It's a liability.
It's a liability. Just the same as you don't want to have school whenever there's snow on the ground. Even if it's this much snow, even if it's just a little bit, you're going to play the better safe than sorry card more times than what you used to. Yep. And that's just the way it is.
Well, and I'm sure all school districts are going through, they got committees, trying to figure out how do we go back to school.
Yep.
And hopefully some of these states that are opening it up, like Iowa, Arizona, that are opening up and going ahead and starting sports, we'll learn, and there'll be a blueprint for us to look at and say, okay, it worked or it didn't work. Where can we go?
You're exactly right. And, we know, Coach Miller and I know somebody, we won't name names, but we've got a young man at our school who's got a brother who is immunization compromised. And so there's a much greater risk there for that family, and you got to be concerned about things like that as well. And we dipped into kind of a deeper pool on the more serious topic than one. I'm going to throw it over to the high priest of the temple, Ray Halbrook, and he's going to take us to our first commercial break.
Shoot. Thanks there. We're going to take questions here at the beginning of our next segment. So we've got a couple of questions coming in here. Perfect. And if you have questions, feel free to definitely chime in and pop along here, comment below, and we will definitely try to answer the best we can, and we will be right back.
How do you? I don't have our.
What you guys do for Jefferson County sports, it doesn't go unnoticed by the coaches in all sports.
Yeah,
all sports. That. I have a lot of friends that are basketball coaches, and I've been, of course, around Jefferson County all my life and followed all kinds of sports even before I got into the coaching. So what you guys do to help promote it with the kids is unbelievable, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
For you guys to take your time and what you do is awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah, we try, we work hard, and we think they deserve it. The kids deserve to be able to be seen, and if we can turn out kids in the community to better them, get them in college, and make them a better citizen, that's the key.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Man!
Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair.
What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the Coach's Box.
This must be a wrong number.
What's up?
And we are back here. Thanks for watching the Coach's Box. As I do that, everybody shifts for their headsets back here. And I wanted to tell you about some great news that's coming up here. We have baseball right around the corner, and we'll tell you a little bit about that coming up here probably in the next week or so. So we're looking for baseball sponsorships. So if you're interested in sponsoring, you got to give us a call over at Livestream STL. And this is how you get a hold of us. You get a hold of us right there, 314-852-4398, or livestream STL at Outlook.com. Sponsor with us. We'd love to have you on as one of our sponsors for baseball this season. We're going to be doing June and July baseball, and we're looking at probably about 20 to 25 games with that. So also one of our sponsors, we'll let you know we've got a brand new sponsor here that's going to be with us for all summer, Justin Neal over at USA Mortgage, located at 115 West Gannon in Festus, the home of possibility. Get a hold of Justin Neal over at USA Mortgage, 314-287-4572 or festus.usa-mortgage.com. And we want to say thanks so much to the folks over at La Pachanga here for having us in here over at 1185 Scenic Drive in Herculaneum. If you're interested in their specials, give them a call, 636-475-4888, or you can check them out on the web at lapachangamex.com. So we're going to turn it over here to round 2 of the Coach's Box, and I'm going to give it back here to Mr. Matt Schutte. And I don't know who that was. What was,
that guy? I think he was going to say me there for a second. I was like,
so we're gonna start off with questions we're getting from the audience in here. Coaches, we'll throw this out to you guys. Riley Blair, we'll start with you.
Sure.
Angie asks, how do you encourage your players to engage in independent conditioning?
Well, I think the most important thing is you got to ask for accountability, and I think that your kids understand when you're asking for just a little bit of accountability, they respect you a little bit more. And I ask our kids to do a little bit on their own, conditioning wise, just because when we get into season side, I mean, a lot of coaches thrive on that conditioning side of it, and I'm the opposite of that. I push a lot of our kids to do a lot of conditioning with the ball in their hand, some kind of drill or something. So I ask our kids in the summertime, hey, if you're going to condition, if you're going to go run, put a basketball in your hand, put an outdoor basketball in your hand and just dribble, continually dribble. So I think it's something important for our kids to be able to incorporate basketball with conditioning, because getting a lot of kids just don't like to go out and run, and don't want to go out and condition. But
a lot of middle-aged men don't like to get out and run either.
You got it.
Amen.
So
I'll say, given Cody Hunter, our football coach, put together just recently, because we just finally met, put all the kids in groups, and they got a senior leading them, and they're all communicating within that group, and then they're with a coach trying to get them to do their training, and we've got a workout set up for them all, and we just sent that out this week. And so, my son was doing tricep extensions with his book bag yesterday out of the house, trying to, because I don't have a weight room set at my house, so we're trying to improvise,
Right.
And I'm always encouraging him before that. Every day I make him go out and shoot, or he just goes out and shoots, and I'm hoping that kids are walking or running. We got a lot of time to do stuff, so I would just keep encouraging them.
Coach Miller, you lost 4 seniors from your district championship winning team, but you lost 4 seniors from that group. Something like 85-90% of your scoring and rebounding.
Yeah, just keep throwing it out there.
Gone.
Let's just go ahead.
I'd say 95% of your assists. Granted, 60-70% of your turnovers. Your senior leadership's devastated, obviously. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Man,
out there.
he is building you up, Coach Miller.
I expected more from Herky guys on this stuff than.
That's what happens when you coach of the year, buddy.
Well,
That's what happens when you're coach of the year.
You lose all those kids and you bring back Fisher, so you're saddled with a lot of obstacles for the coming year.
Oh, he's just reloading. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So a two-parter. One, talk a little bit about what these guys were talking about with your philosophy on getting the guys to work out independently. But before that, if you got together tomorrow, had your guys playing some pickup ball, how obvious would it be to you who's been working out and who hasn't?
I think it'd be very obvious. Simple fact is while kids have things that they could be doing at home, and a lot of kids are self-motivated to even do workouts like your son's doing, and they're stronger. Let's be real. There's not very many kids, unless you're just I'm a cross-country athlete or I'm a track athlete where I'm running, that are out there running. Right. It's the hardest thing to get kids to do is to get to where their cardio is top of the line. Nobody's going to be ready, and I think that's the hardest thing to get kids. Even in a normal summer when you're looking to start playing league games. you're not getting the kind of minutes you like to get out of your kids because they're sucking air, and so you're getting more kids in, you're trying to rotate more kids in, but here's kind of how I try to encourage my kids to condition it. When we talk about games that we're getting ready to play, are you going to play? Because if you can't make it up and down the court a couple times, I'm going to find somebody else. So it's going to be on you. And this is a conversation I've had, with some kids, through our group meetings and things like that, is what are you doing right now to where whenever all this is over and we can get back to normal, quote unquote normal, what are you doing? How am I going to be able to play you in these situations? And then, of course, as far as strength and everything, we constantly push how important it is to be strong, especially to play our sport. But as far as being in shape, hey, this you mentioned it, and it's something that I've talked about extensively with our guys. We're losing a lot. I got a lot of open spots. What are you doing to fill a role? What can you do? And if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm going to find somebody else who is. I don't care if they're a freshman, sophomore, and I like to play our older guys first. But at the end of the day, as much as you want to put them out there, we're going to find somebody who's going to fill this role and do what I'm wanting them to do. And that's just kind of how I don't cut them any slack.
I've just found out that kids are going to be kids.
Sure.
And if you're not around them, like we're not right now, they're probably not going to do as much as they would if it was normal summer. I mean, I can text these guys all I want. I can, say all these positive things, but it's not the same as being right there with them and being with their teammates and them holding each other accountable. It's hard to do that from a distance.
Sure.
And as a coach, it's even more hard to be going because, we can't have that face-to-face interaction with them. But, I think you see it a lot now, and there's a lot of that going on where a lot of these kids are starting to get together a little bit, and they can hold each other accountable. And I think that's says more bounds than us holding them accountable is when their teammates hold them accountable. And I think that if you get a good team leader, someone that's, basically is not afraid to step out on a limb and say, hey, you need to get better shape, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, and they're okay with that, I think that helps your entire program because somebody's willing to lead, lead by example, more importantly. And I think that's important.
Well, what's your advice then to him, since Matt already pointed out he has all this leadership going, all this, so I mean, what's
I can tell you, I can tell you this, coming from a standpoint of I lost my point guard for this year, Taylor Metcalf, somebody that was a tremendous leader, called out her teammates when she needed to, was willing to put the work in the off season to try to get her teammates.
I feel you. I'm losing my point guard, Tyler Reuter. So
I think that's important. So you got to challenge some of your upperclassmen to say, hey, you need to fill that role. And if you don't fill that role, so I'll find somebody that will. Yep. And if you don't challenge them, I feel like that if you don't challenge your kids to maybe do something extra or to put a little bit of fire underneath them, sometimes they just won't, and sometimes you need to put a little fire underneath them to get them to lean that way, and those are tough conversations that you got to have, but some kids need those tough conversations, and I think your entire program pays for it in the long run.
So we got another question here, and I'm going to start with an answer. But our friend of the show, Jeff Whitener, what are the pros and cons for schools to stay in MSHA or leave if they don't agree with the fall guidelines? Now, the most obvious con to me, you're not going to qualify for, not going to be able to play for a state championship if you leave MSHA. You'll leave all the accoutrements that they bring with them.
Well, if you're a public school, I don't think you're going to have that option.
No, and I don't think a private school would necessarily have that option. So, it's a nuclear option. There's talk in some states of forming their own state association if things don't go well, but it's not going to go anywhere. I don't see how it can. Is MSHA perfect? No. We could have a whole show about that. Is MSHA doing what they can? MSHA doesn't have any answers for this thing, just like school boards don't, just like the Archdiocese. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Anybody that's got it figured out should bottle it up and sell it for $1 million a dose. Nobody's got it. Ray's got the closest thing to figuring it out. He's doing business 3, 4, 5 days a week, right? Back to you, Johnny.
Well, I would, if someone had it figured out, we'd all be already back
Just
doing
doing
stuff,
Right.
and I think it's even above Misha and our schools and our superintendents and everyone else. I think it's really a, someone like the governor or something like that. I mean, I don't know how they're going to make these decisions.
And I think that it's a really scary situation when you put it out there that a governor or a president has the sole decision to impact so many people. That one bad decision could affect lots and lots and lots of people and lots of lives. So that's why I think that's very important for these. Our local people here are doing a fantastic job of trying to look at the big picture and not necessarily focus on just locally, but let's look at everything as a whole and try to make what's best for people in this local area. And it's a tough decision because you got to think about, all the lives that are impacted just in Jefferson County that, I'm thinking of just in Jefferson County. There's so many impacted lives, people that are out of work right now. Let's just say, for instance, when the school was out, there were so many parents that couldn't go to work, had to take a leave of absence or leave their jobs because they couldn't have
try to work at home with like a first and second grader in their ear every 5, getting Zoom bombed constantly by the kids.
So I think that there is no answer, but to Jeff's question, I would highly doubt that any school would do that. Just for this liability issues that they would have, and as a person that's not in the education field, but continues to coach, and that would be a huge liability. As much as I would love my kids to be out participating and doing things and be involved in games and stuff, there's no amount of activity that we could put together that would incorporate losing one kid's life because we went out and participated and they got COVID and God forbid something happened to them. I think that's the big picture that we all have to look about. We're being selfish here, thinking about, hey, I want to go out there and play. Yes, absolutely. I'm the first to say I want to love to have our kids out there to play. But at the end of the day, is it that most important thing about there? No, it's not.
I think the pros would be, like you said, we get our selfish fix, and our kids get to play, and we don't have to worry about anybody telling us that we can't have our kids play, and them the same. I think the cons is the catastrophic insurance. You don't have it. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't see from the outside looking in that Misha provides is, God forbid, something happened to a football kid who gets, in the heat or anything like that. And, or gets hurt, hitting their head, even a cheerleader getting tossed and then falling and hitting their head, and something happens to them. That's the thing that people don't see that Misha does provide. And while it's not, it's an imperfect organization, they do try to have the best interests involved for everybody. And again, it's just, you're not going to make everybody happy in any situation, but even in a situation like this where there's really no right answer. And everything you do gets questioned, whether it's one side or the other. Everybody's just trying to do the best that they can. So while it'd be great for people on a short-sighted thing to say, yeah, it'd be great if we didn't have to worry about Misha. It's not in our best interest to do something like that.
Yeah. And to clarify something I had mentioned earlier, there are a couple states. Tennessee comes to mind. They do have essentially dual system. They've got the public school system that's the equivalent of Misha, and then the private schools have their own system. But if you look in Memphis and Nashville, the private school systems there are so large compared per capita to what we have here in St. Louis and Kansas City. It does make a little more sense for them to do that. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. Those are good answers there. And let's see, do we have any other questions, Mr. Halbrook?
I don't see any on here right now.
All right.
Get your questions in, folks.
Yeah, anything anybody wants, just let us know. That's why we're here. Actually, I got one.
Yeah, here's a good one. Everybody should chime in. Should Coach Blair be wearing a hat? Just jump in. Everybody jump in on this.
Can you put a vote on there?
That'd be great. Can we put a poll?
We will work on that.
Do you shine that thing before we come on?
Let me work on that.
Oh man,
I'm gonna get hit off there. He's gonna punch me in the face.
I'm just glad it's for once not me. It's someone else jumping on this.
Three hats on, 2 hats off. So let's get back to the summer ball a little bit before we break. Let's get back into that discussion. One of the things I've noticed at that Hillsborough League when our girls were playing, and to a lesser extent with AAU, but especially with Hillsborough, was it's a little more open play than maybe what you guys would run during the year. Is that by pretty simplified playbook when you're running your teams at that? And let's start with the varsity first. Obviously, the younger kids are not going to have it near as much, but at the high school level, Chris Miller, let's start with you. Are you simplifying the playbook? You just wanting to see what they can do out there?
We always try to be as simple. Pretty much because it's easier for me to explain.
Right. And because you're going to have to incorporate like 15 new kids into your program.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice whenever you can throw something
Half
simple
of them
out
might
there.
not even speak English, like Estonian or something.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if our assistant coaches do their job, maybe that'll be the case.
God forbid, God help us.
You just had him on last week.
No, not Coach Ford, but wherever Coach Eddie is, if he's listening, hopefully he's staying safe right now.
Yes.
But no, I mean, you try to keep things as simple as you can, because when you're dealing with league games and it's a running clock and you only get 1 or 2 timeouts, unless you're Coach Davis, you get to call as many as you want. Then you don't. Yeah, you have to try to you're just looking for different things, and otherwise you could pick apart so many things. And I try to keep it as bland as I can. Not only that, because I don't wonder if Jason's up there or one of those other coaches are recording stuff for later and keeping little notes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
boy.
before we throw it to Coach Jarvis, how many summer games have you been tossed out of in your career?
0.
Seriously, I'd have lost that bet. I would have.
Matter of fact, I have not gotten a single technical in summer.
You haven't had a technical since at least February.
Yeah, so I mean, what are we going a couple months now?
He's
I think
mellowing.
I haven't had one since February either, I think. So all good.
I haven't had one since I can't remember when. It's been a year,
I bet I can remember. It was districts, I think.
2 years ago.
Why is this talk always about how many technicals we get?
I know.
What did you have more of this year, technical fouls or district championships?
Technicals.
So Coach,
It's just 2 to 1, okay? I mean,
Coach Jarvis, regular season playbook versus summer playbook for the high schoolers.
Well, I mean, depends on your team and depends on what you have coming back. I mean, like this past summer, I could run whatever I wanted, really. I mean, I had a bunch of kids that came back.
And it was eventually Jordan getting the shot anyway.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got a couple. Wow. In the summer, I had a few more people scoring other than Jordan. And, we make a joke of that. It's going to be hard to replace him. But, I mean, I do have quite a few kids returning that have had a lot of experience. But in the summer, I try to run more man. I try to incorporate easy plays that are making the kids make decisions rather than me saying, hey, move here, go there, do this. It's a little more open, a little more free. And I try to be that way during the season, too. I mean, Jordan pretty well knew if he was open, he could shoot it. All right. I mean, Grant McCullough, if he was open in 3-point line, he probably should shoot it. I mean, and Josh Mullen gets the ball on the block. He knows, try to score it. And I don't try to make things real difficult in the summer. I like to have some fun with them in the summer and, keep it pretty simple.
Well, I mean, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is what I've always done, I try to keep things simple, but also try to talk to the kids and say, if you have this opportunity, take it, because you don't want to put any kind of reins on the kid in the summer. You want to. It's kind of like an experimental time. If you have that opportunity, I want to see what they can do, and then we can evaluate it and say, yeah, we probably shouldn't have that guy pulling up and shooting this shot because
Well,
it makes more
and
time.
sometimes that can backfire on you too.
Sure.
You have a kid that hits a bunch of threes in the summer, and I'm not going to name names, but I've had this happen for me. And then they come in the season, they start the season, and they're 0 of whatever,
Right.
and then you're having to have that conversation. And but that is a time where a kid that needs to open up that outside shot or needs to develop a jumper. That the summer is where I'm always, like Chris says, dude, take the shot. If it's there, take the shot. This is where we need to work on this stuff. All right, you need to get better now so that when season comes, I'm confident with you taking that shot.
I mean, I think it's easier to turn off the green light. It's kind of like a show and tell. I mean, truth be told, you showed what you can do, and now you need to work on it, or it goes away. You don't get
show
the
me how
opportunity.
much work you've done on
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. And I want the kid to prove me, if I don't know if they can do
Prove
it.
you
or
wrong.
Prove me wrong. Either way, it's great.
Now the music is our cue to go to break. Riley
Poor
Blair, we're
Blair
gonna come back to start with you.
Nice.
I'm going to turn it
Thanks,
over to the
Ray.
Vice
Thanks, Ray.
Admiral of the Blue, Ray Halbrook. Ray,
Shoot.
fire away.
We do have a breaking post here. We're looking for a Last Dance hat for Riley Blair.
Yes.
I
Thanks.
thought that was fun.
We'll make that happen.
Hey, did you watch that?
We'll work
Yeah.
that out. We'll work that out, and we'll be right back.
Evidently.
This Livestream STL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on Livestream STL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. This is important for those kids. And so, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. And if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there, because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
We appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids and get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Man!
Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair.
What's
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the coach's box.
This must be a wrong number. And we are back. Thanks for watching the Coach's Box. Wanted to let you know about some upcoming, really quick here, some baseball advertising that we're looking for here for Livestream STL. We are going to be covering, starting as early as next Friday night, we will be up at the Rock Memorial Post, and we will be covering that particular game to start off with. We'll have some Festus 253. We'll have some JC Blazers. We'll have some, even some Charleston Fighting Squirrels baseball, along with Rock Memorial, upcoming here. So we wanted to get the word out and tell everybody, hey, we've got these summer baseball sponsorships ready to go. We're in the middle of finishing and finalizing schedules, but we would love to have you on as a business. And if you're interested in sponsoring with us, please give us a call, 314-852-4398, or email us over at livestreamstl@outlook.com. We've got to turn this around pretty quick. So if you're interested in our Roku channel as well, this is how you get a hold of our Roku channel. You got to log into videos.tkdssports.com, and if you checked out our quick blip about an hour and a half ago, I guess it was, we have the Roku channel here live at La Pachanga right here, and it will be here live moving forward here. So log on to videos.tkdssports.com. That is $4.99 a month, $4.99. You can't beat that. So, and if you're interested in coming on out to La Pachangas on Tuesdays or any time through the week, you got to jump out here at 1185 Scenic Drive. You're interested in getting a special or a menu, go to lapachangamex.com or give them a call at 636-475-4888. Also, we'd love to tell you about one of our new sponsors here, Justin Neal, over at USA Mortgage, the home of possibility. Give Justin Neal a call, 314-287-4572 or festus.usa-mortgage.com. That is Justin Neal, the branch manager over at USA Mortgage. And we are going to move forward with our next segment here. And here we go, my friend, going back to Mr. Schutte.
Yeah, and we're going to turn it back over to Coach Blair. We stepped away for a commercial break, but Coach Blair, we were talking about playbooks in the summer and how simplified we get it, and just what are our philosophies on that?
As a coach in the summertime, all the stuff we do is I just let the kids play, and I think that the more importantly, as a coach, I learn more about that player by just letting them play and seeing how they play with other people, and just without having any guidance. What do they read? What do they do defensively? I mean, do they, are they willing to help when the situation is in the right place? All of those things, I think that's important for the summertime, because when you get into regular season play, I mean, you got to deal with scouting reports of other teams, where this is just allowing the kids to just kind of feel free and open to be able to do the things that maybe they do well, and then you can kind of see their weaknesses and be able to play off that. So as a standpoint of that, I mean, do I use some of my playbook stuff? Yes. Some of the stuff we incorporate from last year, and then, as stuff that we want to put in, we may put it on a fly and just let's see how kids react. We've done that in the past. We put some stuff in the summertime just very vaguely, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're going to see how they react to it. And then we kind of get a little better feel of, hey, can they pick this up on the fly, or vice versa.
And I have a question written down here that came in actually, I believe, a week ago. But curious to get your thoughts on this. Do you look for an offense with more or less ball screens depending on your team's talent level? What are the pros and cons? So we're digging deep into the coach philosophy playbook here. Jason Jarvis, let's start with you. Ball screens.
Hey, let me know so I can kind of be planning.
Let me do my Harry Carey. Ball screens, your thoughts.
Well, if you saw us play this year, there was a lot of ball screens for one individual, a lot. And and some games it worked. And
wouldn't know who that is.
Against Pius, it did not work. I mean, we'd run him off of 3 screens, and he was still struggling to get open. But, I've kind of changed a little bit of my thinking on what we do offensively, and I've been trying to make the kids make more decisions and giving them more options than just a ball screen. Not to say that I won't use a ball screen, but I'm not one that says, oh, I got to have 100 ball screens, or, we got to do a ball screen every possession or whatever. But I used it a lot this year. I mean, I had several set plays that I had to run to get certain people open, not just Jordan, as everyone thinks. I mean, I ran some plays for Grant. We ran some plays for Moreland. I mean, I ran plays for all kinds of kids to get them open. I had even for my point guard, just so he could get to the basket. And so, I don't know. Sometimes I love a ball screen. And you got to have 2 kids that can do a ball screen and make good decisions off of it. I mean, if you run a pick and roll and the guy coming off the screen can't make a good pass to the guy rolling, I mean, you're
self-defeating.
Yeah.
Jason, I want to say that you don't run that screen for the flex cut either very well. So somebody at this table tried to run that a lot. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
We actually tried to run flex against them right at the start of the game because the kids were running it at practice because we were practicing against it. And they're like, why don't we just open up with it? And they know they're going to be a man. We scrapped that real quick. But
what is this flex you speak of? With ball screens, it's as the game of basketball has changed and evolved so much, and the European style has come in.
Let's before you continue.
Man, I just got teed up here.
So I have to think of the big picture.
You have got teed up before.
Not every viewer is going to know exactly what a ball screen is. Can you define ball screen?
So the guy has a basketball, and someone comes over and screens for him. and he comes off of it.
All right, please continue. That's all we needed.
Wait, if you're watching the show and you don't know what a ball screen is, you got Google.
Hey, there's some very bored, very lonely people out there that find this is
amusing.
They want to see what's going on with the hat game for everybody. They heard rumors that perhaps there'd be some sort of burlesque show towards the end of the evening.
Wow. Man,
who's that?
Wow.
I didn't get the memo.
There's
Neither did Riley.
all sorts of reasons somebody might be watching, but
Why didn't have a
maybe
hat
just
on?
one person didn't know what that was, and now you've illuminated that for them. So please, my apologies. Please continue.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of the European stuff is brought over, and then you watch the NBA, and then college basketballs, especially, is filtered in ball screens. If you don't use them right, you can't make the pass. You don't roll the right way, which I mean, you spin around kind of like a ballerina is what I tell the kids. Like you spun around, and you can't even see it.
Exact thing.
And twinkle toes, you're setting it wrong and rolling wrong. But then the worst thing is, and if you especially and Riley probably knows this a little bit. A couple years ago, Grandview girls were really good. If you set a ball screen on them, they're going to just come and trap you. And that's the worst thing is when you kind of predicate your offense around ball screening, and you come up against a good trapping team that's going to trap you off a ball screen. And it's ball screen, when you're playing man-to-man defense, you have to teach about 4 different ways to guard it. Mm-hmm. But if you have that down, especially a trap, and you have kids who understand that, it is devastating to your offense.
100%.
And so when you set a ball screen, you might as well just be giving the ball up to the other team around half court, because that's what ends up happening when you have that, if they understand that concept. I don't like it a lot. I use it maybe on some set plays, but I do not want to say we're running a ball screen offense because of that. I've had it happen to me. I've watched it happen to other teams.
Well, and especially if you can't handle the basketball.
Yeah, it really, it helps having a guy who can dribble the ball a little bit.
And that's one of the questions. Depending on your team's talent level, now let both of you, and Riley, we'll talk with you definitely as well.
Because all back to the back again.
All three of you have lost. Well, we saved the best for last, is what we do.
He's won more games, I think.
Wait, he's the one with the district title this year.
With that talent, he should have had a district title. So,
can't mess that up.
So I could have coached that team to at least 500. Man. So,
wow.
Okay. The part of the question was depending on your team's talent level. So each of you is going to have a fundamentally different team than what you had last year. All three of you. Does that dictate the offense you're going to and the philosophies you're putting in? Can you run everything you want to run next year?
No.
Can you?
No.
I can tell you that I'm completely changing my offense from completely different.
He's throwing that
you heard
out
it here
there
first,
for,
folks.
for
That's a
everyone
live
out
stream.
there.
So for all you guys who play against Coach Blair.
Breaking news.
There
it is.
Offense.
All right.
Anybody that has a scouting report on what we've done in the past, it is completely thrown out the window.
So if you're coming in, and I'm not going to say less talent, but less experienced talent than what you've had, does introducing the ball screen, is it advantageous for you or disadvantageous for you?
Remember, I'm going to write this down.
I feel like I'm going to have some kids that can come off the ball screen. I mean, and I'm hoping I'm going to use it, but I mean, I don't think I'm going to put in an offense that just revolves around the ball screen.
Coach Blair, how often the ball screen in your offense?
Well, I think it's important that you have to have someone that's good with the basketball in their hand and to be able to read what the defender does off of that ball screen. In the last 4 years, I've had a point guard that was able to do that and to be able to read the defense. I think that's a prior thing for a huge impact for us. But I also think that, the more important thing is the ball screens are very effective if you set a screen correctly. And I think that's one of the big things as someone that's teaching that. You have to set it correctly in the right spot to be able to benefit that offense.
And he brought up a good point. He had a point guard that could come off that screen and either attack the hoop or shoot the three.
Yes.
And that came with experience.
And
ability. But
you may have a point guard that can't shoot the three, and so you're running that ball screen. If I had Moreland coming up and screening for Reuter, people were going to sag off of Reuter because he didn't shoot that often.
Right.
So they were going to sag on Moreland.
Yes.
So I had to get, if I was going to do a ball screen, it had to be with like Jordan to have a threat of pulling that outside shot if everyone collapsed on.
You notice how Blair did kind of deflect the whole answer about this for next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I just been waiting
Strategery.
on that. With losing Caden was really good. If we set a ball screen, Caden could pull up and shoot that shot.
Right.
And so he made it really difficult. And I know whenever I had Klaus at Grandview,
Yeah.
you know, if you set a ball screen at 25 feet and you played underneath it, we just told Kobe to shoot it.
Yeah.
And I felt really confident about Kobe shooting it about 24 feet compared to maybe some of the other point guards I've had in the past. So it depends on your talent. Now, I'm not saying we'll have less talent. I think we could set a lot better screens this year in comparison to last year. It's just having somebody who can make those reads coming off of that, coming off that ball screen.
Well, and you brought up the biggest thing, too. I mean, I don't know how many times we'd be in practice. We're working against a man because a lot of teams ran us a man. And these guys play with Jordan every day, and they're going under the screen on Jordan. Well, he's going to shoot it. I mean, there was one day Blair was in there. He probably made 53 pointers that day at practice.
Yes.
And, it took a couple of our kids, after he made about 5 in his face, hey, you might want to try to fight over the top
Did
of
you
that
ask them if they touched the stove multiple times to see if it was hot, too, and after they had like third-degree burns on their hand? I think that would have been my comment.
So I'm going to jump in. As we've talked about, I'm a very unsuccessful assistant CYC youth coach on the girls'
So
side.
you're qualified for finishing 500 with this team we had last year.
You're a college coach, so you have a college and coaching experience.
One of the 10 worst seasons in Culver Stockton college history, and I was part of it. So we had a youth coach. Jason coached our daughters in summer ball last year. Kyle Pogue, who played at Fontbonne University, has coached AAU ball. Boys has coached at the junior college level. And he and I talked. I was assistant in the sense that the parent that wanted to be the assistant wouldn't have ever shut up. And so Kyle said, hey, would you do it instead so we can at least have some peace at practice? And I said, yeah, sure, that'd be fine. But one day at practice, I said we had a couple players that were they were here and the other ones were here. They just weren't there yet. We were working on that, but there were going to be times it was advantageous to give them an opportunity to score the basketball. I said, what about a ball screen for this player or that player? He was adamantly opposed to the philosophy of the ball screen because he felt like all it did was bring another defender to the ball, and at that level the kids weren't astute enough offensively to be able to understand what was going on with that second defender and then take advantage of that. So is that something that at the younger levels maybe you don't want to be doing that, or did we miss the boat there? Or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think that's the case. I think kids at that younger age need to understand the importance of reading that and at a younger age because, as you get older, you come up against more skilled defenders. Someone that, basically does something completely different. Like, Coach said at Grandview did about 3-4 years back where they come up and trap any ball screen you ever did. And 90% of your ball screens were up at the top of the key, and they were trapping you at half court with, 2 girls, and all of a sudden it was a layup on the other end. So I think that as more efficient that you get, I think you see more of that. And I think at the younger levels, if you're teaching that, they're learning it more efficiently, and I think they're figuring out the things that they can do and the things they can't do, and then how to make that adjustment.
Well, and that's, you know what, you're going to allow me to get some things off my chest because, God dang it, I can do that right now. So.
Love it.
Youth coaches that just coach nothing but a 2-3 zone, should they just be taken out behind the gym and shot? Because to me, they should be taken out behind the gym and shot. Because Chris Miller, this is impacting you more than these two guys right now. They have an opportunity to put their principles in with these younger teams at the grade school level. You don't. But I'm
not supposed to. They frown on that.
So. Well, and we follow the rules at St. Pius X High School. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, I need some boots.
So
I knew you'd have a comment.
But the question: do you see freshmen coming in and they're not quite able to recognize what they need to do defensively because they haven't played man or played it hardly at all coming out of like the CYC ranks?
Oh, I mean, you see it. You see it. I hate saying it. Sometimes when you have kids, even in all the years that I've been coaching in public schools. You have kids who go and play AAU. They go play select ball or whatever you want to call it away from your program, at lower levels, and they're playing a zone. It's a stand around, just kind of have their hands up. And it's the worst thing because when you're trying to teach man principles, which, if you play good help defense, it's like playing a zone. But they don't understand that concept. They're used to guarding a lot of air or a space. Like, this is my spot, and you have the ball, but I'm going to stand here. That doesn't work. Yes. I don't know what kind of – that's not really even
lazy
basketball.
Coaching.
It is because you have to spend a lot of time coaching man principles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And make no mistake, I understand that a 2-3 zone, a 1-3-1 has to play. We used the 1-3-1 very effectively the year we went 10-0 when my daughter was a sixth grader. 1-3-1 was fantastic when we could use, but that 2-3 or 3-2, depending on what they've got, that some teams just roll out and the kids know I need to take 2 steps this way, this way, this way, or this way, and otherwise I don't move. I just don't know that that's preparing them for the next level. And to me, CYC, just like AAU, has a responsibility to help kids get ready to play, or at least consider being able to play at the high school level.
Well, if you look at it from a standpoint of trying to learn the game, okay, that's the teams that they win some games and they do play those kinds of zones where they just stand around. They're packing it in because small kids don't shoot very well from outside. Let's be real.
Third grade basketball to watch is just painful.
Well, they're trying to chuck it up, and they're not as strong or whatever.
And parents are being very helpful from the stands.
Oh yeah. That's another topic.
It was always fun to yell at them from the stands.
A little bit it was. I just let my daughter go. It's like, you're shooting at the wrong goal. Good job. But when they're big, when those kids are bigger, they're going to be more successful than those kids who haven't grown just yet. So playing that zone, that big zone, standing there, well, yeah, you're going to be a lot better because you're taking bigger kids who are more developed at that age, packing them inside, and keeping somebody else from scoring. That's great. You're not making them better for high school programs.
That's one thing I love about Coach Goodwin at my junior high. This is one of the only years I've ever seen him really run zone. Mm-hmm. He ran some just because of his team, but we don't. I run a lot of zone, but we don't teach zone at practice. We teach all man. Everything we do is man principles, but we play a lot of zone. And another thing you see at the lower levels is, like my daughter, I'll use her for example. People wanted to put her under the goal. Mm-hmm. She ain't going to get much taller, I don't think. She may be 5'7", 8", maybe. I hope she gets taller.
She's not a mean kid.
And what I'm saying is,
Me too.
You take one of those tall kids, like my son Dylan even, you put them underneath, and then they never handle the basketball as a youth player, and then they don't grow.
Yeah.
And then they can't handle the basketball.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Where are you going to put them? And then defensive-wise, they're used to playing in the paint, standing there going like this, and now they have to guard a guard because they're not a post player anymore. So I like it when I see younger teams, that are all trying to play man. I tried to do it at the YMCA level when I coached at the YMCA, and I would always do man.
If you're playing zone in high school, it's because this is what makes us more competitive against our opponent.
Yes.
Let's be real. If we're going to go play man-to-man with some of the teams I've had in the past, and we go and play some of the competition we've had, like when I was at Grandview and we were playing Festus and Windsor for whatever reason because I'm crazy, when we played them man-to-man, we're going to probably get whipped a little bit because they were more talented than us, more athletic than us, and it is the way it goes. So you're going to try to play zone to change that. When you have younger kids and they're not as developed and you're trying to teach them, you want them to be able to play man because exactly what you said, they're going to grow or they're not going to grow, and they have to be able to play these at least to put them in a position where you can say, okay, we can switch from man to zone when they're in high school depending on what we're doing.
You can ask Blair. When I first got hired, I was I'm running nothing but man, and I got my butt handed to me for the first few games, and I went to him and I'm like, dude, I can't run man. And I had to change it up at the high school level.
I think that another thing that you talk about, the younger levels of playing
people
zone.
get stuck with winning at the younger level.
And here's that next topic that I was going to pull off of that is a lot of the younger level teams, if you've got an athletic kids at that level, you see a lot of those younger youth coaches pressing. And those kids are fantastic because they're athletic and they can do those things, and they only score and shoot layups. And then they get into somebody that they play that's maybe as athletic as they are. They cannot run a half-court offense. They cannot run a half-court defense because they don't know how. That's all they know is press, 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 shoot layup, layup, layup. And that's something that I do not.
Sounds like something he read at the high school level. But go ahead anyway.
Now, is this an accurate statement? It is easier to teach somebody well-versed in man to play zone than the opposite.
100%.
Absolutely.
So if you were, let's say at the next CYC coaches clinic, they're showing this show.
Oh, boy.
Can't imagine a scenario where that would happen, but let's say they're
Can't
showing.
imagine they're going to walk away thinking they feel really good about themselves, apparently.
What would you want to tell somebody that's coaching 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade to help them get kids ready to come into your program?
Teach the man principles. Man principles can be effective in the zone at any point. I mean, it's the same concept, and I don't run a lot of man. If you notice that, I don't run a lot of man, but we do a lot of the man principles, which consider it with us how we play. That incorporates it with that. So I think at the younger levels, we're teaching the man principles, but we're still playing that zone. But we're teaching them different understandings of the zone with a man mindset. And I think that that's important. But, just sitting in a zone and 2-3 with your hands out, it doesn't be effective at all. And I think that's something that a lot of the younger level programs that you see are doing because of that. Is that one, maybe they don't know how to teach man. A lot of people don't know how to teach man. It's not an easy thing to do, and so
it takes time.
It takes work
for a young coach or for somebody that maybe is getting in and trying to help their kids' team, because that's what CYC oftentimes is.
Parents.
Where do they go to learn that? Is that reading that? Do they need to go to a coach's clinic? Is it a YouTube tutorial? What's the best way to learn? If I wanted to get back into coaching, which Misha won't let me do.
All those.
Yeah.
I've used everything you said. I've went to coaching clinics. I've used YouTube. I've talked to coaches. I mean, all those things would be something that someone who is interested in that would probably need to do if they want to coach man, especially. If you want to coach zone, I mean, pretty much, I think my wife could probably do it. And not to knock her. I'm sure she's watched a lot of basketball, but it's a little more difficult.
She's watching, by the way.
Oh, I know. She probably is.
She'll probably comment here soon.
But what I'm saying.
What do you mean I can play zone?
You bet your ass I can teach zone. Let me tell you something about your team and what you don't know.
Well, and so when you press when you're up 50, that's a kind of.
Wait a minute. Wait, who?
That wasn't you. That wasn't you.
That's
you weren't pressing, I don't think. Oh, yeah, it was you.
Here we go.
I don't know. Hey, it's all right. It's something that happens at Pius. I guess my first year, Lawrence was pressing up 68. It's just something we do. But
it's just something about you.
You said what else would you? Because we just talked about defense, and I think that youth coaches also they get that one big player. And they just feed that kid constantly. Yes. Feed that kid.
And it's to the detriment of the other 4 kids on the floor.
Yeah, and they don't encourage, everybody wants to win. Gosh, I want to win. All right, I want to win every game I play, that my kids play. But at that level, one thing I always did at the YMCA level when I was coaching my own kids is I wasn't worried too much about winning. I was worried about everyone getting to play, everyone learning the fundamental things that you need to know to be a successful basketball player.
And that team we coached that went 10-0 a couple of years ago, they went 0-10 2 years before that. But I think that 0-10 team set the stage because we ran man more than anybody else in that league.
Right.
Now, when we put our second 5 in, we almost had to go zone because they 5 girls chasing the ball the whole time. You'd be begging from the sideline. Please stay with your person. They didn't do it, but it lays that foundation. But yeah, you sacrifice winning in the short term for the longer term. On the offensive end, what would you like to see kids coming in being able to do better?
Offensively, it's just dribbling. I mean, dribbling and learning to dribble with both hands, and heck, even passing competently a little bit with their non-dominant hand be great. Defensively, and I got to go back to defense. I can't emphasize this enough. They have to play. They have to play man. They have to learn those principles because we're going to go over it. We're going to teach it. We're going to try to get them to where they can do it. Offensively, dribbling and passing to me. I mean, if you're not strong enough, you have to get the ball up to the rim. It's going to come.
And one of the things you said about passing, one thing I've been trying to focus with my kids, pass to the outside arm.
Outside hand.
Yes.
Outside hand.
Outside hand. Quit passing it right to the guy because that's where the defenders are.
So, Riley Blair, I've had Aaron Portell tell me that he'd like to have girls that can dribble, pick up the ball, and pass all in one motion. But he has trouble coming out of some CYC programs. Kids aren't able to do that. Do you see that sort of thing coming up through the ranks with you guys?
I think that the more importantly, and I stressed this in a prior show that we talked about this, I think that I tell my younger kids, the coaches that are coaching my younger kids, 3 things I want you to teach them: how to dribble, pass, and shoot. And if they can teach those 3 things, I can take care of the rest.
Gotcha.
I think the most important thing is those kids got to know how to dribble, with a defender in their face, or a defender not in their face, or off of a ball screen, or double teamed. How do you handle it? And then the passing thing of it. I think the more times than not, kids don't know how to pass to where the person is going. I think they throw the ball behind. They do all those concepts, and we're teaching that at the young. And then shooting, form shooting. Can't say that enough.
I agree with that.
A lot of younger kids don't shoot form correctly, and I think it just leads on to more and more bad habits as they get older.
And I want to jump in. And whenever I try to tell kids, first thing I say is, do you watch the NBA? Yes. Do you watch college basketball? And some of them say yes. And then I say, okay, who shoots like you shoot? Who do you shoot like? And especially when they shoot like 2 hands or they're thumbing the ball. Who shoots like you? And they kind of look like nobody. And it's not right.
Right.
So you need to change it. Yep. And they say, well, I can make a couple. That's great. But
Me and Jillian just had this conversation. Get your left hand off that ball.
As I like to tell the kids, this is just me, and I've coached boys for a long time. I say, no girls are going to want to date a guy who has some ugly-looking shot. It's going to have to look pretty if you want to pick up girls. They're going to find somebody that has some ugly-looking shot the way you shoot it.
And the sweetest stroke at this table is the Monsignor of Livestream STL, Ray Halbrook. We're going to turn it over to him. And then we're going to come back for a brief final segment.
Yes, we are. We will be right back.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up?
What's up? Man! Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair.
What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the Coach's Box.
This must be a wrong number.
This Livestream STL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on Livestream STL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. This is important for those kids. And so, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. And if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there, because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
Well, we appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids. And get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here.
We're jumping back here. Thanks for being with us here for the Coach's Box. As my gentlemen jump to rush to get their headphones back on. And thanks again for being on. And we're going to wrap things up. We're going a little bit later tonight on purpose. So Our final segment. This is going to be a fun segment here. Matt Schutte, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, so we're going to just throw a couple random unrelated questions out there, but something Kevin Halley brought up last week, and we didn't get a chance, you guys didn't get a chance to get to it. If 2020 was a basketball player, who would it be?
Greg Oden.
Ooh.
Greg Oden or Sam Bowie. I mean, Sam Bowie because, he was Kentucky Wildcat. But, hey, both drafted by Portland, who had the chance of getting Jordan and Kevin Durant. So,
Okay. All right.
I'd steal both of them. That way you don't get either one of them.
I'll tell you, I'll go with Clyde Drexler.
Wow.
The old school son of it, and if 2020 was a basketball player, the reason why I say that is Clyde was on a fly. And I think that's what 2020 basketball players.
Is he freestyling over there?
That's right, just on a fly, go for it.
Right.
So that's me.
Big Pun joins us here.
No
at segment
kidding. Look
4.
at you go. You're that creative.
I asked my wife; she'll tell you that.
That'll be segment 5
sure?
off the air later.
Wow! She'll probably be texting me right.
Tune
at
in
the
next
moment.
week for the ladies. They'll be on.
Are you serious right now? Did you say that?
I think I'm out on this 2020 thing here.
Oh,
Really?
You gotta think
Anybody?
of somebody.
The worst. What's the worst basketball player you ever watched in the NBA or college?
I've got a good one.
I was thinking
I'll
of
tell you.
people. I mean, the one I wanted to say, I can't say it.
I have 2 I was going to say, and I'm not going to say them because I would definitely never be able to come back to the show if I.
I'm going to say mine off the air later, but I mean,
yeah, so am I.
You didn't
I think he and I are thinking the same player.
How about Saul Smith? He used to play at Kentucky.
Oh,
he's
Saul.
Tubby,
Was that
Tubby's
Tubby's
kid.
boy? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, well, he was pretty terrible.
Wow.
Hey, wait, I had this
Terrible.
conversation with a
Terrible.
couple people today, actually, because it just came up. And somebody said Lynn Bias. I said, I don't think you can't say Lynn Bias. No, you can't say that.
Well, that's why I did. That's why I did. But I mean, that draft pick that hurt.
Got a little bit.
Yeah, just a little
Hey,
I'm going to
just don't do
gonna
cocaine.
Be slightly obscure and say Trajan Langdon.
Ooh.
Oh,
because
wow.
we came into the year with a lot of promise, and it's been an absolute disaster.
Well, I know Jason Williams, or the one that wrecked the.
Wrecked his motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean
and
that
never
was
came back.
because he was a heck of a player. Now, I
He's
guess
had a lucrative second career.
his second career. Yeah, the
Kind of like Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby
Bobby
Hurley was
Hurley,
another
man.
one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. That's a good
had a
one, too.
chance to be good.
See, it's funny that you were thinking Lynn
Yeah, I know,
Bias.
right?
I just didn't want to say Lynn Bias, but when you look at the situation, that was one of the worst
How about
things.
Sean Bradley? I mean, that'd be a good one, too. I mean, his claim to fame is he was in Space Jam. That was it. He's a tall guy, right? Yeah.
He probably still gets more royalties from Space Jam than he did from his NBA career.
That's probably true.
Kicks it out to the Mormons.
Wow.
All right, one question we've passed on from for a couple weeks, and we can wade into some trouble with this one. What is the funniest slash most outlandish / most outrageous thing you've heard a parent say from the stands in a game? And each of us, I know, has an answer like, yep, not giving that one away, at least on the air. But what's the worst, funniest, most outlandish thing you've heard a parent say that you can repeat here on the air?
Repeat, yes.
Oh, wait, this is me as a coach?
family show.
This is, yes.
Oh, okay.
Family show.
We're gonna bring in a psychoanalyst to sit down with you and talk about your dad watching your games.
Well, I mean, the funniest thing I've heard the parents say is probably my dad saying anything about me as a coach. And if anybody who knows me and knows my dad, he's probably definitely said all the things how terrible I am. So anytime a parent ever questions anything, I mean, it's your ride, it's your kid. It's really bad when it's your dad basically telling you how much you suck. And he's very open and honest about it. He's like, why'd you call that timeout? You're stupid enough to do that? And this is a conversation sometimes at halftime where he'll be walking out to smoke a cigarette, and he'll stop me as I walk through, and he's like, hey, don't be stupid and call those time. You ever going to call one or whatever? If I call one, it was dumb. If I didn't call one, you're stupid. You know him.
Oh, yeah.
You understand this.
Why are you playing this
I've
kid?
been
Why
at
are
your
you-
game and where he's grabbed me and asked me why.
I'm sure. Wait.
Why did Chris call that timeout?
If he doesn't call me after the game and question it, he's going to call somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to
Oh, yeah.
Did him and Coach Davis ever gang up on you?
Oh, yes. They still do.
Yeah,
Still do.
Wait. Coach Davis and I have a great relationship, and he's like dad number 2. So if I'm not getting questioned by him, especially when I worked with him, if I'm not getting questioned by how terrible this decision was by Coach Davis, I'm going to find Dad later on, and he's going to be telling me the same thing.
So what the parents are saying, what the fans are saying, doesn't really infect you too bad, because what you've heard from your own blood is much, much worse.
Well, that's kind of what I've always figured. It's like, well, it can't get any worse than that. If somebody who, that's your dad. He basically just said how much you suck.
Does Mom ever chime in on this?
No. She doesn't like basketball.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
That's great.
I'll say that because, a lot of people don't know my dad comes to a lot of our games, and he lives 2 hours away, and he'll drive over here, and Mom and Dad will drive over here for games. And, every time he sees something on the sidelines, Dad coached basketball for 30 years. I mean, he's been around the game in a long time, and he'll see something, and instead of getting my attention by calling my name, he calls me by my nickname, which when I was growing up, old junior high kid. This is a good one. You guys will like this one.
You're going to tell us?
Here it is.
Yeah.
It's a big reveal right now.
Cosmo?
Breaking news.
You've heard this. But when on the sidelines, he'll yell, "Noodles." And that gets my attention because that's the only thing that I listen to. When my dad's there, I always remember when he says noodles.
Now on the feature stage at Club Imperial, Noodles. Noodles to the feature stage. Noodles is at the jukebox. She'll be up with us here in just a moment.
It's a good thing we don't have other girl basketball coaches
That was his
on here
stage
right
name
now.
for when he did his drama stuff. Right?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
So Noodles is getting called out.
So Dad'll anytime he wants to tell me something from the other side of the floor, you'll hear him, and a lot of the parents on our team will say, "What does noodles mean?" Like, your dad yells noodles across the floor, and immediately your face turns right to him. And it's just, I don't know, it's something that a lot of
I may or may not employ that next time I say Pius and Herculaneum.
Come on, Noodles.
Here we go. But I think that's I hear that all the time, and a lot of people wonder why. But that's kind of one of the things that my dad has always got my attention by calling me that. But funniest thing that I've ever heard from a parent from the stands, I've heard, "Don't listen to the coach. He don't know what he's doing anyway." I've heard that multiple times.
About you or about the opposing coach, or both?
I think a little bit both. I've heard them both times. And as growing up, I think it makes. I don't normally listen to people in the stands, but at this point in time, this parent was sitting directly behind the bench, and I was talking about something, and he stood up as loud as he could and said that. Was immediately asked to leave the building, but it was pretty obnoxious. But, I mean, that's one of the things that I've, funniest kind of crazy things I've heard is right behind my bench is don't listen to him, and you don't know what he's talking about anyway.
Did you have to get him run, or did somebody take care of that for you?
Somebody already took care of it. As soon as he stood up and said that, see ya.
Now, Coach Jarvis, your second best crazy story.
Coach Miller's having a hard time keeping himself together.
Noodles.
No, it's not just that. It's just multiple things here.
Multiple
so many layers.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
One of my favorites always is, "Coach, run a different play." And you're like, "Dude, I've ran every play in the playbook and it ain't working, man."
Don't matter.
I mean, it don't matter. They're better than us. And I always love when I hear that one. "Coach, run a different play."
Or the obnoxious, "Shoot it."
No, we don't have that. We don't have those parents.
Especially when it's someone you don't want shooting and you're like,
no. I had this happen. I got to tell this story. So, if anybody knows, my parents one time got tossed from a game, and
I hear relatives get tossed once in a while. That's what I'm hearing.
So we were down at we were down at Valley Catholic, and the game wasn't going too hot for us, and my parents were kind of pointed out as a group of people who were being obnoxious to officials. Now, this is probably the one time I didn't think that was the case.
Sitting in the stands next to me by chance.
So
you got thrown out too.
Noodles, what do you think?
So the referee stops the game and he says, "Listen, these people have to leave or you're forfeiting." And I go, "I'm sorry, what?" He goes, "Yeah, they're not leaving, and they're your fans, and they have to go or you forfeit the game." And I said, "That's not even in the rules." Now the gym is quiet because everybody's trying to figure out what's going on because the game is now stopped, and because that's what he did. He comes over and tells me that, and I'm just going, "You don't even know the rules, man. You need to back up a little bit. That's not the case." I said, "How do you know that there's not people in the stands wearing our gear that they're doing this. I said, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. He said, well, they got to go or you're forfeit, and that's just the way it's going to be. Now, at this point, my parents are actually leaving. And I go, are you kidding? I don't even know these people. And my mom, who doesn't like basketball, heard it. And later on, I got a very lengthy voicemail of how terrible I am that I didn't, come to bat for them or,
Did you guys win?
No. And you don't win down there. Come on. So
wait, I thought you said it was Valley. This wasn't in Perryville?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
No, it wasn't St. Jen.
St. Jen.
Valley
Oh,
Catholic.
St. Jen.
Yeah, so
I thought it might have been St. Vincent. You said you can never win there.
Yeah, I know. He wants it so bad.
He wants to rub that in.
So as I say that, and they're leaving, and I just told the official that, I don't even know these people. One of my parents stands up, and he's like, yeah, that's Coach Miller's mom and dad. You tell them exactly what you feel. Yeah. And I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? they're right behind me. Like, really? I mean,
and this was Riley's parents doing this.
and then literally 2 plays later, I get a technical foul. So I mean, it just it was fun.
Runs in the family. It's great.
It was fun. It was good stuff.
And what about what can you tell us
about what?
Parents, what?
He's really trying. He wants to know.
Heck with it. Why not? Let's get suspended for a week or two. So.
Let's get suspended for a week.
So crazy.
I was at I don't remember who was playing, but it was last year. It was Bruce Thomas tournament.
Oh.
And Pius was about to play. I don't even remember who was in the game before. I have no recollection whatsoever. But there was a parent convinced that the referees were in the employ of the other team. And he starts pulling cash out and just waving it every time the referee came by. It's all I got. And he was pulling some Buford T. Justice stuff on it, and the ref had finally had enough.
So I guess Roop got to
No, it wasn't even Roop. You
out.
guys have that. There's that liaison officer, the police officer with the ink.
Mr. Grove.
Yeah, Mr. Grove. That's
Grove
there.
got to take him out.
I think it was him that had to walk the guy out. But
I do remember that. I remember that now. Yeah.
So, yeah, that one
that.
cracks me up where the refs are in the employee. I mean, if you're not in Perryville, it's obviously not happening.
It's not all Perryville schools.
Yeah, it's the Catholic ones.
Oh, gosh. Over here going, no comment.
I don't want to have any comment.
It's called an arbiter. Look into it. And on that note, I've got an announcement for you.
I was going to say, we played them at our place this year.
Yeah, that didn't matter.
That didn't help.
And the refs came with them.
Just ask. Never mind.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
There it is right there.
Breaking news.
It's all in jest. We're having a little bit of fun here this evening on Tuesday night here at lovely La Pachanga in Herculaneum, Missouri. We're going to wrap the show up. I am going to make a small announcement. We're going to have a small programming change. I'm going to be stepping away from weekly duties as the host because the boys, they grew up last week, and I was so proud of them. Watching the show. It wasn't the 5-alarm disaster I fully expected when I tuned in when I was out on assignment.
Man,
ouch.
Chris did a good job. He really did.
Chris Miller did a great job with
I know, I can't read or write, so I mean, it was great. I mean, even right now, I have no idea what this says.
Well, those deep dives, in all seriousness, guys, the deep dives you do when you have some guest coaches come in, we've had some really good coaches come in. McVeigh comes to mind, among others, but the guys you had in last week, it was a really good show, and I think brings a lot to the table. I think you have an opportunity to do even more of that, especially now with McVeigh coaching up here. And maybe have an opportunity. So, Coach, if you're listening, here's an opportunity for you to come in. The pay is marginal. We'll tell you that now, but you're a teacher. You're used to that.
We pay you in Dr. Peppers.
So now you're public.
Yeah,
only Pepsi.
Only Pepsi.
Only Pepsi products.
Pepsi payments. But I'll be jumping in still from time to time. And the show, I think the tentative plans for us to kind of go weekly through the end of the summer, whenever that'll be. Or if the Earth dies in a fiery explosion, which at this rate could happen tonight on my way home.
Wow.
So if the killer hornets don't carry off my Suburban on the way home, who knows what's going to happen. But
thank goodness you only got a couple-mile drive.
Yeah, it's been awesome being with these guys. I'm going to be back with them again. There's no question about that. But I won't be here as much. Dad duties are popping up. My daughter plays club soccer, and they're finally getting that ramped up now. So I'll be taking part in a lot of things with her. But be checking in with the guys quite a bit, and I'm quite sure the show's going to advance without me here.
I'm a little worried about the questions we may get now.
Oh yeah, because you might jump on there and ask some really interesting questions.
Yeah. So that's what we do. We try to advance the show in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to do a Google search for young ladies named Noodles, and I'll be sending photos. We'll have you guys rate them during the show, and I think that'll help advance things.
I don't know why you pull that cat out of the bag.
I can't believe he told us his
biggest error in
nickname was
Coach's Box
Noodles.
history was perpetrated just this evening.
Here we go. That's good stuff.
So, all right, we're going to wrap it up there. I'll turn it back over to the Viceroy. We're going to go with my favorite and turn it back over to Ray Halbrook.
Hey, Matt, we appreciate you. You know, this is week 9, I guess, with us in a row.
Yeah.
And next week will be the Big 10.
This week's the 10th.
This week is the 10th?
This is week 10.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
This is week 10.
Yeah, we started this up. I've got
Gosh,
the notes from the
is
first
it
show.
week
March
10?
March 31st was the first show.
All right. Well, week 10. So 10 weeks. And, I had no idea what this was going to turn out to be like. And I'm having a blast. I really am. I'm having a good time. And, so it'll be the fearsome foursome from now on, So
a cavalcade of guests.
The
I would
4
imagine.
horsemen. There we go.
Any coach out there listening that's willing to buy dinner for these 3 guys is welcome to join the show.
Yeah, they're on the show.
Oh, they are on.
They're on the show.
Right. You're
They're
on the
buying.
show. And,
Hey,
and
there's Kyle Boyer. right there.
Hey, just walked in.
Hey, there he is. Hey, you're on.
There it is. There
Now,
it is.
we've learned our lesson. You'll have to pay for the dinner in advance because some of you get gator arms when it comes time to reach for the check. But you're willing to help these guys out. They're willing to give you a platform.
There you go. All right. Well, this has been a fun show, and an hour and a half we went. More than an hour and a half. So, and we may start trying to do this a little bit longer. We'll see how things go. I don't want it to be too boring if we start getting.
I don't know anybody who knows us that's going to think it's going to be boring.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
But
around us.
one of the mandates we're going from here on out is as the 4 of us, we got to do. And I'm pointing 4 fingers back at me when I point, at everybody else. We're going to do a little bit better job of actually promoting throughout the week.
Right.
And we're going to be changing some of our format up to the point to where we're going to start helping some of the businesses around here. One being where we're at right here, La Pachanga, and we're going to work with Joel, the owner here, to help get him back on track with what he's normally used to bringing in. And it's important to get our economy in the local areas here back to where it's at. So,
and we were at Brick Bistro, I think 2 weeks ago. I'm going to be having a pizza from them Thursday.
Yep. You got to get the Bada Bing Classic. It's pepperoni.
We're trying the buffalo
and
chicken.
pepperoni.
Are they open now?
They are open. Yeah, curbside and carry out only, I believe, right now.
The buffalo chicken pizza is.
That's what I hear. So
got some competition over there at Emos.
Hey,
order up,
hey,
peeps.
Emos, right?
Order up,
right?
I got some Emos at the,
Order
in
up,
the fridge,
peeps.
but
Order up, peeps.
you don't deliver that far away.
There you go.
Well,
For the right tip, he might.
So we're going to continue to talk about food here in a little bit, and we're going to say so long here from us at Livestream STL. Don't forget to check us out on all of our outputs here: Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and our Roku channel. Don't forget our Roku channel. Again, if you're interested in getting that, get a hold of us here through videos.tkdssports.com. That's $4.99 a month. And so we're going to get on out of here for Ray Halbrook and all of us here at Livestream STL. We're going to say so long. Have a great evening.